Lena checked her watch nervously. 11:55 p.m. The streets outside were quiet, the city bathed in the soft glow of street lamps. She tugged at her coat and stepped up to the shop's door. Midnight Bookshop read the sign in elegant gold letters, glimmering faintly in the dark. A tiny bell jingled as she pushed the door open, though the sound was softer, almost musical, than any bell she'd ever heard. The air inside smelled like cinnamon, old paper, and something she couldn't quite name, something magical. Shelves stretched higher than the ceiling, filled with books of every shape and color, some so ancient their spines seemed alive with whispers. A voice called from the back. "Welcome. You must be the new night librarian." Lena turned to see a man leaning casually against a bookshelf. Dark hair, a crooked smile, and eyes that seemed to know far too much about her. Yes, that's me," Lena said, clutching her bag. "Lena." "I'm Eli," he said, stepping closer, but not too close. "First time here." "Yes. I just started." Lena's words stumbled over each other as she took in the shelves, the dim golden light, the strange feeling that the books were watching her. Eli smiled knowingly. "Don't worry. The shop has a way of adjusting to new visitors. Some more than others." Lena frowned. "Adjusting?" Eli tilted his head. "You'll see. Some books like to move on their own. Some whisper secrets. Some choose their reader." Lena blinked. "Choose their reader?" He nodded, casually flipping a small leather-bound book off a nearby shelf. It floated gently into Lena's hands. The title read, "The Story You Were Meant to Find." She stared at it. It just moved?" Eli's smile deepened. "Exactly. Lucky you. Not everyone gets the books they're meant to find on their first night." The clock above the counter chimed midnight. The chime echoed softly, almost like a melody. Shadows shifted along the walls as if the shop itself were breathing. Lena swallowed hard, half in awe, half in nervousness. "This place. It's different." "Different is good," Eli said. "Better than ordinary. And who knows? Maybe tonight, the Midnight Bookshop will show you why it exists." He leaned closer and whispered, just loud enough for her to hear, "And maybe if you're lucky, it'll introduce you to someone who's been waiting for you." Lena's heart skipped a beat, and she clutched the floating book tightly. Something told her that this night, and every night hereafter, would be nothing like she had ever imagined. The shop seemed to breathe around Lena as she wandered between the towering shelves. Every step made a faint creak, as though the floorboards were whispering secrets of the countless visitors who had passed through before her. She opened the leather-bound book Eli had handed her. The pages were yellowed and delicate, filled with neat handwriting that seemed almost alive. Some find what they're looking for. Others find what's looking for them. Lena shivered. Was it the chill in the air, or did the words feel directed at her? A soft shuffle echoed behind her. "Books have a tendency to speak," Eli said, appearing beside her, holding a small stack of novels. "Not literally, of course. But sometimes if you listen closely, you can hear their whispers." "You mean like voices?" Lena asked, glancing nervously at a shelf where a particularly old-looking tome seemed to lean toward her. Eli shook his head, smiling. "Not voices. Thoughts. Memories. Warnings. Encouragement. Depends on the book. And the reader." Lena turned another page. A small folded note slipped out and fluttered to the floor. She picked it up carefully. "Trust the midnight. It knows the way." She looked up at Eli. "Is this normal?" He chuckled softly. "Normal is boring. The shop isn't exactly conventional. But that's what makes it magical." Curiosity overcame her nerves. She wandered deeper into the aisles, trailing her fingers along spines that seemed to hum with energy. Occasionally, a book would shuffle slightly, as though nudging her attention toward it. "You're letting the shop guide you," Eli observed, leaning against a nearby shelf. "It likes those who follow." Lena's eyes widened as she reached for a slim navy blue volume. The moment her fingers brushed the cover, it opened on its own. The words on the page glowed faintly in the dim light. "The first choice begins when you step past the ordinary." A thrill of excitement, and a pinch of fear, ran through her. She looked at Eli. What does this mean?" Eli's expression softened, a hint of mystery in his eyes. It means, Lena, the Midnight Bookshop has chosen you. And tonight, you'll start discovering why it exists, and perhaps who it was waiting for. Lena's heart thumped in her chest. Somehow, she knew that nothing would ever feel ordinary again. Not in this shop, not in her life. Lena followed Eli down a narrow aisle she hadn't noticed before. The shelf ends curved slightly, forming a small archway just wide enough for her to step through. "Where are we going?" she whispered, half afraid she'd stumble into something unusual. "You'll see," Eli replied, his eyes twinkling with amusement. "Not every corner of the shop is meant for casual browsing." They stepped through the archway, and Lena gasped. The space opened into a hidden reading nook, cozy and golden lit, lined with shelves of books that seemed far older than the ones in the main shop. A small fireplace crackled softly in the corner, though she hadn't seen a chimney. This is incredible," Lena said, brushing her fingers along the spines. "I've never seen anything like this." Eli leaned back against a shelf, watching her with a smile. "Few people have. This is where the shop keeps its secrets." As Lena explored, she noticed a small, intricately carved wooden box tucked between two large volumes. She picked it up carefully, feeling a faint warmth. The lid slid open with surprising ease, revealing a folded map and a tiny brass key. "What is this?" she asked, her voice barely above a whisper. "Ah," Eli said, stepping closer. "The map shows possibilities. Not all of them are safe. But some can lead to wonders. The key." He winked. "It opens the doors you might otherwise miss." Lena's stomach fluttered. "Doors." "Metaphorical, and maybe a few literal ones," Eli replied. He gestured toward a shelf that had subtly shifted, leaving a faintly glowing outline in the wall. "Sometimes, the shop wants you to explore. Sometimes, it wants you to choose." Her heart raced as she traced the outline. "And you? Do you know what to expect?" Eli shrugged, though his eyes hinted at secrets. "Not entirely. That's part of the fun. But I can promise you this. It's never boring." Lena smiled nervously. For the first time, the idea of the shop guiding her didn't feel intimidating. It felt exciting. "Are you ready?" Eli asked softly. She hesitated for a moment, then nodded. "Yes, I think I am." Together, they stepped toward the glowing doorway, leaving the ordinary aisles behind. Somewhere deep in the hidden corners of the Midnight Bookshop, adventure, and perhaps something more, awaited. The glowing doorway led Lena and Eli into a small circular room, unlike anything in the rest of the shop. Shelves curved around them, filled with books that shimmered faintly as if alive. A single lantern floated in the center, casting warm, dancing light on the floor. Lena's heart raced. This is unreal." Eli smiled, brushing a strand of hair from his face. "It's not supposed to make sense. It's supposed to make you feel." She walked slowly around the room, letting her fingers graze the shimmering spines. Some books hummed softly, others whispered indistinctly. One, bound in deep green leather, vibrated under her touch. "What happens if I open one?" she asked. "Depends on the book," Eli said. "Some reveal secrets. Some reveal memories. Some choose the reader." He studied her carefully. "And sometimes, the reader chooses themselves." Lena hesitated, then opened the green book. Light spilled from the pages, forming shapes and colors in the air. Glimpses of moments she hadn't lived yet, choices she hadn't made, paths she could take. "Whoa," she breathed. Eli stepped closer. "It's showing you possibilities. Not everything will happen, but the shop. It guides. It nudges. It gives you a chance to see." Her gaze met his. "And do you see this too?" He nodded. "I see what the shop lets me. But not everything. You're the one stepping forward tonight. You're the one making the choice." Her hands trembled slightly as she closed the book. "It's overwhelming. But I think I understand. I have to decide whether to embrace it. All of it." Eli reached out, gently taking her hand. "You don't have to do it alone." Lena looked at him, feeling warmth in his touch and in his gaze. You'll be here?" "Always," he whispered. "If you choose to stay, I'll be right here. Every midnight, every adventure, every possibility." A soft breeze, or was it the shop itself? Swirled around them. Shadows danced along the walls, and books rustled like an approving sigh. Lena felt a thrill, a shiver, a certainty. I choose, she said softly, squeezing his hand. I choose this. The magic, the adventure. You. Eli smiled, relief and joy sparkling in his eyes. Then it begins. As the lantern's light swirled and brightened, Lena realized that the Midnight Bookshop had given her more than adventure. It had given her a choice, and with it, the possibility of love. Lena and Eli stepped back into the main shop, the midnight glow fading into the familiar golden light of the shelves. Everything seemed the same, yet somehow different. You were right, Lena said softly, holding the green book close to her chest. The shop really does choose who it wants to guide. Eli smiled, brushing a hand over her hair. And sometimes, it guides the ones who are ready to see. Lena laughed lightly, the tension of the night melting away. I didn't expect magic. I didn't expect. Well, you. He tilted his head, teasing yet tender. Unexpected things are usually the best. She blushed, a warm flutter spreading through her chest. I think I like this unexpected. Eli took her hand, holding it gently. Then we'll have plenty more nights like this. Midnight adventures, whispered stories, and maybe a little more. Lena squeezed his hand in return, smiling. A little more sounds perfect. The bell above the door jingled faintly as a new customer stepped in. A small girl, eyes wide with wonder, clutching a worn storybook. Lena glanced at Eli. Ready? He asked. Absolutely, she said, her eyes sparkling. Together, they walked toward the girl, welcoming her into the quiet magic of the Midnight Bookshop. As the clock ticked past 1, the shop seemed to hum in approval. Books shifted gently, pages rustled like soft laughter, and the lanterns glowed a little brighter. Lena realized with a full heart that the shop was alive, not just with magic, but with possibility. And as long as she stayed, she would always be a part of it, of the stories, the adventure, and maybe, just maybe, the love that had chosen her. Outside, the first hints of dawn touched the rooftops, but inside, the Midnight Bookshop held its secret world. A place where magic, chance, and heartwarming stories waited for anyone brave enough to step through its doors. Thank you so much for listening. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more original novel stories. And stay tuned, our next story is coming soon.